Thierry Henry wore number 14 for 8 years at Arsenal. He turned it into the most iconic number for Arsenal fans. There was only one issue. It was never the number he wanted. There's a different number, one he wore for France at 2 World Cups and at the Euros. And it's that number that Henry called his real number. And in 2012, at 34 years old, wearing that number for the first time in an Arsenal shirt, he scored a goal so statistically strange that even he couldn't quite explain it as a coincidence. So today we ask the question, why 12? And why did it take him 17 years to actually wear it where it mattered the most to him at Arsenal? Most fans never even ask this question, because the story of 14 is so loud it drowns everything else out. Legendary striker, legendary number, case closed. But let's turn back time to a kid growing up in a rough suburb outside Paris in the mid-1980s. France had its own footballing gods at the time. Platini, Tigana, Gires. Henry watched all of them. But the player who actually made him want to play the game a certain way wasn't French at all. It was a Dutchman, Marco van Basten. At Euro 88, in the tournament final, Van Basten scored a volley that's still shown as one of the greatest goals in the sport's history, wearing the number 12. And that image stuck to Henry. Not 9, 7 or 10, the numbers which every kid is taught to want. It was 12, a number with zero traditional prestige in football's numbering system. 12. A dead number which is given to a substitute or a squad player who has no significance to the first 11. But to a young Thierry Henry, he decided right then and there that it was going to be his number. Henry got close early at Monaco in the mid-90s as he broke into the first team under a young manager named Arsène Wenger. He cycled through number 13 and 28 as a teenager climbing the ranks. He did get a brief stint of wearing number 12 at Monaco. Then in January 1999, Henry left Monaco for Juventus. And this is where things get strange. At Juventus he wore number 6. The number 6 is not a striker's number, it's obviously a defender's number or a CDM's number. At the time, Henry was one of the most explosive attacking talents in Europe, and for some odd reason, at Juventus he was handed the number 6 and told to play left wing back. He was expected to track back and whip in crosses so that other players could score. In 7 months he managed 3 goals in 16 games, and was told the club planned to loan him out as a make-weight in a deal for someone else. Eventually, Henry did leave Juventus and he was convinced he would never wear a Juventus shirt again. And Ancelotti, what were you thinking making Thierry Henry a left midfielder or a left wing back?
Everyone asked me why I left Juve. I didn't left Juve because of playing or not playing or whatever it was, because I finished the season kind of okay, to be fair, scoring goal, giving assists. But then at the end of the game, Moji, so the director at the time.
The owner, is it?
No, he was the sporting director.
Sporting director.
But he was almost the owner, trust me.
Yeah.
And more. Let's leave it there. He grabbed me after a game, just finished a game, and he puts me in the room, and Ancelotti was in the room there. But straight after the game, not even straight after the game. He goes like, we're going to send you to Udinese. I'm like, can I take a shower? We're going to send you to Udinese because I don't know if you remember at that time. They had Birov and Amoruso.
Yeah, okay.
Remember that team of Udinese?
Yeah, yeah.
So we want Amoruso, but then they will only sell it to us if you go there on loan.
You.
So I'm looking at Ancelotti, he's not saying anything. He said, yeah, but we trust you. We trust you. I said, oh, great trust. Do you trust Del Piero? They said yes. Okay, send him on loan then.
Did you say that to them?
Yes, but I was stupid at that time. But my point is, I didn't take no, you know what, from nobody. I took the shirt, I put it there, I said I will never play for this club again. And not because of the fans, not because of anyone, because it's an outstanding club. Seriously, great club, great fan base. The way they look after you in Italy is almost like you're below God. the way they treat you it's outstanding. But that was disrespectful. So I left.
Real quick, if you're an Arsenal fan, aka a Premier League champion, and you're enjoying this video,
so beautiful,
please leave a like on the video, hype it up, and subscribe for more Arsenal videos. Liking the video really helps for the algorithm, so I'd appreciate that. But yeah, subscribe for more Arsenal videos. Let's get back to it. In August 1999, Arsenal sold Anelka to Real Madrid for 35 million euros and bought Thierry Henry for 16 million euros. Henry arrived at Arsenal with one clear request: give me my number, give me 12. But here's the block nobody plans for. Arsenal's number 12 belonged to a Liberian forward named Christopher Rare. Now Rare wasn't any deadwood player who didn't mean anything to the squad. Wenger had trusted this guy to start the 1998 FA Cup final ahead of Ian Wright. And to Rare's defense, he had earned that number 12 jersey fair and square as a part of that double winning squad. Henry was a World Cup winner and a big money new signing at Arsenal, but with him having no history at the club, he refused to walk in and strip it off Rare.
When I arrived at Arsenal, I wanted number 12, but Christopher Bray had number 12.
So with the number he actually wanted off the table, what was left? He looked at the leftover shirt numbers and he picked 14, a direct nod to Johan Cruyff, the only other player in football history who'd made a substitute's number mean something. Cruyff himself had only ended up wearing 14 by accident. Back in 1970, he gave his usual number 9 shirt to a teammate whose own jersey had gone missing, and Cruyff pulled the spare number 14 jersey from the top of the kit basket. Henry wearing number 14, in other words, wasn't a plan. It was a fallback built on top of somebody else's fallback. What happened next is the part everybody already knows, so we'll move fast. Wenger moved Henry from the wing to the middle and he became Arsenal's all-time top scorer. He led the Invincibles of 2004 and won 4 Golden Boots, a record that still stands in the Premier League till this day. The number 14 became so iconic since Henry that every player who's worn it since, Walcott, Aubameyang, Nketiah, now Gyökeres, has had to publicly address the ghost of Henry before they've even kicked a ball. But here's the detail that gets buried under all that success. While Henry was building an empire on a number that he settled for, being 14, there was another shirt where none of that compromise applied at all. For France, there was no Christopher Rare, no seniority to respect, and no dressing room hierarchy to defer to. Henry established himself in the senior national team in 1997, and he simply took the number he wanted since he was a kid watching Van Basten on television: 12. And in that number 12 shirt for France, Henry went on to just win trophies: the 1998 World Cup on home soil and Euro 2000. He ended his international career in 2010 as France's all-time top scorer, and that record stood until Olivier Giroud passed it in 2022. So for over a decade, Henry was living a kind of double identity: 14 for club that made him a superstar, and 12 for country where he was paying homage to a childhood hero that made him a fan of the game in the first place. Those two numbers were never supposed to meet again until January 2012. Henry was 34, playing in America for the New York Red Bulls when Wenger brought him back to Arsenal on a short-term winter loan. And now, for the first time in Henry's Arsenal career, the path to 12 was actually clear. The number 14 at this time belonged to Theo Walcott, and Walcott wasn't giving it up even for Henry. So, it happened. For the first and only time in an Arsenal shirt, Henry put on number 12. And wearing that number 12, Arsenal were drawn against Leeds United in the FA Cup third round. This was a frustrating game. It was 0-0, chances were going begging until the 68th minute. Wenger sent Henry on. 10 minutes later, Alex Song gave a through ball. Henry peeled off from his marker, opened his body up the exact same way he had done 1,000 times before, and curled the ball into the far corner. Arsenal won 1-0. Now here's where it stops being a normal comeback story. Henry later sat down and actually counted the coincidences that stacked into that single moment. It was his 12th career appearance against Leeds United, It was his 12th career goal against Leeds United. He scored it with exactly 12 minutes left on the clock, and he was wearing the number 12 when it happened in the year 2012. Henry has said that this is his favorite goal he's ever scored in an Arsenal shirt, not because of the quality of the finish, but because for the first time in his career, he said it felt like scoring as a fan.
So when I came back, I had number 12 in 2012. I scored 12 minutes to go. That was my 12th game against Leeds and my 12th goal against Leeds.
That's not a normal Thierry Henry celebration.
No, but then, yeah, he is the fan that scored the goal. That's the dream of any fan, I guess.
I think it was a brilliant moment for football. I think everyone had a smile on their face when they seen you come back and seen what it meant to you.
I left the stadium that day at 1:30 in the morning. I still had my shin pads, I still had my short. I didn't want to move. That was special.
So here's the irony sitting underneath one of the most iconic shirt numbers in football history, the number 14, the one on the murals, the one Arsenal strikers still get measured against 20 years later. It was never Henry's plan. It was just a number he chose because he couldn't get the one he actually wanted. 12 was always the real one. It's the number his idol wore. It's the number Henry was wearing when France won titles. And it's the number he wore when he scored his favorite goal in his entire career. We all know 14 made Thierry Henry famous, but 12 is the number that actually belonged to him.